There,
Behind you.
Yeah, that bottle's really close to the edge of the counter. It makes me really nervous. One more, Aaron. There you go.
That's the voice of a parent.
Yeah.
That's really close to the edge.
Sorry. Yeah.
There we go. Big old glasses.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Autopod Decepticast, your bi-weekly podcast delivering an episode-by-episode breakdown of the original G1 series. This is our episode number 129. Today we're going to be talking about Day of the Machines. That's episode 25 of the original Generation 1 series. Guys, I'm not going to lie, I don't have an intro. Why don't you just...
Great.
That's fine. That we just saved like 10 minutes right there.
You don't want to talk about your spec script for Gremlins 3?
I was talking about my life. I mean, most of the things that I talk about in these intros are sort of riffs on pop culture, but are you acting like you don't remember the time that Caleb was my dad and you were a small furry creature that Caleb bought in a...
It was ripped from the headlines.
Yeah, Ryan's still a small furry creature.
It's true.
Never stopped.
stylish furry creature.
I did write as a kid like 3 pages of an outline for Ghostbusters 3, which curiously centered around a 10-year-old child who comes into the group, is like a nephew or something, and I even designed a proton pack with like a little pistol. Yeah, I loved Ghostbusters.
Yeah, you have a proton pack.
I
you
did
built for Halloween.
I did build a proton. It's pretty awesome. I'll tweet out a picture of it, but yeah, it's pretty sick.
You don't have to do that.
How's by the way, Ryan, how's everything going on in the that small town Southern Court of Law?
Well, I'm just a civil country lawyer. I don't know about all this fancy big city business, but it seems to me that something just don't seem right about this case.
Yeah. For the listeners out there, Ryan is, every time I see him, he looks more and more like a Southern lawyer. He was outside here before we started recording. He's got a full suit on. Well, yeah, suit. Three-piece, smoking a cigar and drinking a cocktail, and his mustache is on point.
2 points. Ryan, is
2 points.
that a pocket watch?
Yeah.
He's got a pocket watch.
This is the pocket watch you gave me, actually, as your best man for your first wedding.
Oh, I'm glad that something survived from that.
It keeps terrible time. So maybe that's a metaphor.
Perhaps.
I'll have to put. Well, let's put a picture up of Ryan as the Southern gentleman at some point.
No.
Oh, what? Aaron wants no documentation.
I don't even want him a part of this podcast anymore.
Oh,
my!
Why can't you say that about me?
Because you want it too much.
That's true. I need to be more subtle. Yeah, I kind of want to record. Yeah.
We are recording in the satellite studio, Caleb's
right.
grandmother's
Yes.
home.
What would you call this? It's a mid-century bungalow of sorts.
There's really it's not really. I mean, it was built in 1948 or 1950, but I would not call it mid-century modern by any. It's just
No.
It's the best thing I would describe it as. It's a post World War II baby boom bungalow.
Okay.
It's
Part of like the housing boom of the 50s.
And there's on this particular street, there's probably this whole side of the street. All of these houses have this floor plan.
Gotcha.
And look like this, built at the same time. It's basically a track house.
It's at scale, built at scale.
What does that mean?
Like a whole operation behind it.
Yeah.
Like it's
And
built to be duplicated.
What's funny though, you see like on those documentaries, like they'll show like a suburb of like Los Angeles or Chicago or et cetera, and you'll see these baby boom track house developments, and there's like hundreds of these houses. Well, in Nixa, where we're recording in this small town where we grew up, this street was the boom, and there was 5 houses built. Like this.
Whoa.
So that was like a big deal.
Nix's population, that was 20% of the population at that time.
So this street, this particular track was that baby boom track house explosion. And
Gotcha.
That's what this house is.
And your father was raised here.
Yep.
I'm just picturing young Colin running around this place looking for trouble.
And there was like there was kids all up and down the street, and he was telling me stories that they would just they'd play. There was a field behind here, and they would play. And he told me I was telling him like we've got kids on our street now, and they're kind of running around the yard, just kind of screwing the yard up. But I'm like it's just. They're having fun, so I shouldn't just tell them like, "Hey, get off my lawn." And he goes, "Yeah, it's fine," because like they used to do stuff like that. He said once they dug a deep hole and filled it full of water and covered it up with like sticks and stuff, and they talked a kid into jumping on it, and he fell into the hole, and they all laughed.
Well, that's just bullying.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's just a crime.
Yeah, not really a crime.
Yeah,
but it's not.
It's like if Dennis the Menace had even worse intent.
Well, we did that stuff.
No, I didn't.
Well, Caleb did.
What did I do?
He got a little of the bullying gene.
What did I do?
Oh,
No.
I don't know.
I'll never forget.
Remember when we all walked from Ryan's house down Spring Manor, and we were digging rocks out from underneath that overpass.
I know what you're talking about.
And we were trying to basically think if we could collapse the bridge.
I don't remember that.
Ryan,
I do. That's a victimless crime.
Except for the one car that
we got
puts it over the edge.
Well, it's completely ridiculous.
Yeah, but we were digging rocks out from this old bridge.
I don't remember.
We got caught.
Are you sure that it wasn't just you two?
It was the three of us because the farmer caught us, and he basically followed us in his truck all the way back up the road.
I sort of
remember. And
that is
the thing is,
I thought
we didn't go to our house though.
I thought we were caught on the property though, not on like under the bridge.
Yeah,
it was under the bridge part of the property.
It's not. It was public property. So I feel like maybe we're conflating two things, but maybe he was just a dick.
Well, maybe he didn't want us to collapse the.
That's
the
impossible. There's no
Understood,
way
but
that
still,
could
it was
have happened.
Right, but still, it was.
It's a concrete structure.
It was not a concrete structure. It was rocks. We were digging rocks out.
I know, but there was mortar involved.
Yeah, sure.
What I'm speaking of, Caleb, and I've brought it up before. This won't be a surprising story, and I'm sure you'll remember it. 6th grade. History class.
Oh, you're still talking about that?
Here's me. I'm a self-conscious little innocent 6th grader. I think you're my friend. You're one of my best friends. And the class is outdoor for some reason. And in front of all the class, you came up to me. You're like, Aaron, there's something in your hair. And you got a few people to join in. I remember. I won't name names. I don't want to throw too much shade, but people, there's something in your hair. And then you came up and you're like, you grabbed my hand. You're like, no, not quite there.
I put your hands
and then you grabbed my wrists and you're like, no, it's like right. And you were trying, it was as if you were trying to guide my hand to wherever what was in my hair was in there. And then I had both of my hands up over my head and then you de-pantsed me in front of everybody.
It was mean.
Yeah, that would definitely be an incident today.
I don't try to justify that at all. That was a mean kid thing to do.
Or
I'm gonna get you someday.
And I saw this a lot.
I think I already got you with the Southern Comfort.
Ryan pushed me down on the playground, and it made my elbow bleed, and I went to the nurse.
Yeah, and then I hid behind a gaggle of girls.
Yeah, I think we've told this story before.
We have. But that wasn't really a trick. That was just, I don't even know what that was.
That was just you being a bully. And
no, I feel like it was a reaction.
I like how he's trying to somehow justify it's not an act of bullying.
It was violence. It was definitely violence, but it wasn't like intimidation.
You don't know why he pushed you. Did he push you randomly?
No. Me and him
I don't remember.
and Wes Piney were just deciding that we were going to
R.I.P.
Wrestle on the playground, and we did, and
so it was consensual.
Sounds like it went too far.
No, it was.
This
it was
maybe
consensual.
went a little far. Not bullying.
I fell down. And there was of course, this was a playground back in the early '80s. So when I fell down on the playground, obviously there was a shard of broken glass underneath the swing set.
And best case scenario, you fall down in sharp gravel.
Yeah.
Did you cry?
Yeah, I was mad. I got 3 Band-Aids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still have a scar, I think.
I don't know what I thought was going to happen, but I was afraid.
I don't think any of you guys have ever physically hurt me, but I do remember a different occasion where I accidentally threw molten styrofoam on Ryan.
You've hurt me seriously on many occasions.
Oh, you think?
Remember when we were playing outside one time?
Let me get the styrofoam thing out. I can't remember what we were doing. We just liked fire. And we would burn stuff. And styrofoam burnt, we discovered, in a really fun, unique way, and the way it melts. And somehow or another, I don't know if I kicked it or dropped it.
I think
or did
you kicked
something. And basically this hot molten styrofoam just splashed all over Ryan's hand.
I think
you still scarred?
The scar may be gone, but it was right here for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The other time that sticks out in my mind is we were in your mother's backyard, and we're just sticking around. I think I was playing with nunchucks or something, and you took a big tree branch, and I don't know I think this is not your fault because you didn't know the physics of what was going to happen, but we were standing next to a clothesline, and I was like, if I can describe it, it's like a diagonal line. There's you, then the clothesline, then me. Mm-hmm. And you took this long whip-like stick and hit the clothesline pole, it whipped around and smacked me in the back. It bent around the pole and hit me in the back. And it fucking hurt.
Oh, man. The clotheslines have been a consistent partner of mine, I guess, in hurting others. I remember I was a kid and my sister and I were riding a horse on some property of one of my mom's boyfriends. And there was a clothesline, and my sister had to have been like 3 or 4 because I was maybe 7 or 8 tops. And we're on this horse. It's just kind of plodding along, and I sort of kick it I just want it to go a little bit faster. Mm-hmm. And it does, but it's heading towards the clothesline, and I can't steer it. And I duck down, but my sister's behind me. She didn't know it was there, and she literally got clotheslined.
She literally was clotheslined.
And knocked off the horse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's serious.
I don't know if she remembers it, but my mom brings it up a lot.
She has traumatic head injury.
Speaking of clothesline, I have a birthday present for you. It finally showed up.
Okay.
And
are you going to give it to me?
Yeah, can I give it to you right now?
Sure.
All right, close your eyes, and then I beat him with a stick.
He pants him.
Well, actually, it's funny that you say that, and I didn't really realize that, but I'm going to hand it to him. Okay, you can open your eyes now.
What the fuck? What the fuck is this?
Those are Muay Thai boxing shorts.
Ooh.
Professional Muay Thai boxing shorts.
They're fucking amazing.
Yeah, and I did not plan this, but
I'm gonna wear these while mowing the lawn.
No, but what just now occurred to me is that you could put them on and I could pants you on. I could pants you.
Yeah. Maybe I could put them to my ankles and you could pull them up and all would be forgiven.
I like that. I like that a lot. So those are
They look like
Fluory.
like very elaborate boxing shorts, basically.
Are these connected to any particular
Yeah,
Thai fighters?
Yeah, I think so, but I have no
Is
idea.
Fluory a guy and he's got a licensing
brand,
deal? Okay.
But these are Thai letters. I have no idea what
they're
this is.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's red and gold and black, and it's very pretty.
Hold it up. I'll take a picture, and then you're gonna have to eventually have a picture of you with them on, like doing
With my
moves.
shirt off?
And nothing
Yeah.
else.
Oh,
In
yeah.
a Thai type of stance?
Yeah, like doing moves.
I like this.
Happy birthday! I ordered them, and they somehow got to like from California to Minnesota, and they disappeared. So I had to order another pair.
Whoa.
Did you get
Yeah,
reimbursed?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still making your birthday present.
I'm just kidding. I've been late for you guys.
It's a
birthdays
close.
several
He's
times.
making a clothesline.
The COVID really cut into me being able to get specific materials.
Oh, wow. It's like
Really?
hard to get material.
It's not really. It's more like I just don't. I can't. There was a couple months where I couldn't justify going to get it just because like it's non-essential.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for all of our international listeners, I'm sure you guys don't know that things have been a little crazy
We have actually
here in the United States.
As if they don't watch events.
Yeah,
at all.
I mean,
I know you're just sheltered in your little private
No,
villages in southern Great Britain.
Southern Great Britain.
Southern Great Britain.
Northern?
I don't know.
I don't know where the fuck
The
Lancashire
people
is.
are watching everything going on here with probably awe and wonder.
Yeah.
And just disbelief and
It's
maybe
true.
not disbelief. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I saw that coming.
We have had. It's been nice though. We have had Black Lives Matter protests in all 50 states and in like many other countries. So everybody is very aware of it. We just wanted to mention it. The Black Lives Matter movement. I understand this is really uncomfortable and it's horrible to watch these videos and everything. But there are certain people who definitely want this to die out. Our current government would be one of them, and just don't let it happen. Be aware of it. And then the only other thing I wanted to say was just as three middle-aged white dudes, and I would assume I don't know for sure, but most of our listeners are probably white dudes. just as a way to easily ally with the Black Lives Matter movement and your friends or people of color, which is like, and kind of what I've been guilty of also and more cognizant of in recent years is whenever this is the weird thing is when you're a white person, sometimes another white person will just casually assume you're cool with racism and say something horrible in your presence. I would say just don't let them get away with it. Like, don't just brush it off. Just, call them out, make them feel uncomfortable. Let them know you're not rubber stamping it, I guess. And, and protest if you can, donate if you can. Just, it's important. I feel, and we feel that it's important.
The only thing I would build on it, because I'm sure the world doesn't necessarily need a lot of white voices.
Yeah,
I
no.
mean,
This is why I was speaking to white people.
The biggest thing is listen and try to understand. One of the things I've struggled with in the past is the concept of white privilege in general being bantied about. People want to take it personally.
Yes.
Your ego gets involved. I fucking came from single parent welfare. I've worked hard for everything I've gotten. That's true. I'd say just put your ego aside and realize it's not about you personally. It's about the system of oppression that has been in place forever, and whether you like it or not, you have received benefits from it. And that doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you've willfully tried to leverage your privilege. It just means that it exists, and if you recognize it, I just encourage people to listen, find some voices that you respect online, and a few that really have spoken to me. Anything Dr. Cornel West is pretty insightful, and even like some of the classics. I've been watching a lot of James Baldwin YouTube videos. One of the most amazing speakers I've ever listened to in my life. And it's amazing that he's saying these things 30, 40 years ago.
It's the same.
And it still makes sense, and how he articulates the black experience in America. So anyway, just go out and listen to some voices.
Yeah,
that's the main thing, and take your fucking ego out of it, because it's not about you.
Yeah, and it's easy to get offended because especially if you feel like you're being attacked. But it's not, and it's okay. It's okay to examine things that you've done in the past, and I've done things that I've been complicit in racism.
Sure.
And so it's okay that's what learning is. Like, just anyway.
I already know everything.
Yeah. Well, just a few quick things if you want to donate. We'll tweet this out and put it on the website. Unicorn Riot, Brooklyn Bail Fund, Black Visions Collective, and of course the George Floyd Memorial Fund.
Okay, Ryan, here we are in this grandma's house. Have you got a grandma style drink for us?
It's probably a grandpa style drink.
That's what I like.
For the morning times, because we're recording it right now. It's about 10 in the morning. I'll go get that shit. You ready, boys?
What is this?
Well, this is from Jigger Beaker and Glass, the so-called Prairie Oyster. I didn't even try to shoehorn this one into making sense, and I going forward, I'm not gonna for the episode. I mean, sometimes
make a name for it.
No, there's a name for it, but like trying to make it tie into the episode, it does in the next one. But like, I'm not, because I have to live my life. I can't spend 2 hours trying to figure out, because this book is not laid out in a normal way. Like, the index is useless. Because it's not laid out like per like alcohol or per, it's in a weird drink name system that doesn't include, like, if you look up mojito, you won't find it under M. You'll find it under like Jim Bob's Mojito.
Yeah, well, it's an old book.
Yeah. This one is from page... Traditionally, this one's non-alcoholic, but I made this alcoholic, and I tried this before, and I liked it. This is from page 88. 1 jigger of bourbon. I used Basil Hayden for this one.
Solid choice.
1 unbroken egg yolk, a pinch of salt, a teaspoon of lemon juice, a teaspoon of Worcestershire, which I subbed in my 18th century mushroom ketchup, which we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, well, I can't wait.
A drop of Tabasco, a pinch of black pepper, and in lieu of salt, I sprinkled it with the dehydrated leavings of my mushroom ketchup.
Okay.
So is this sounding appetizing?
It sounds like a meal in and of itself.
Yeah, it's
a high protein.
It's like a breakfast
cocktail.
drink.
What's it called again?
It's called the so-called Prairie Oyster.
Okay.
So we're drinking a raw egg.
It's basically a shot.
We have to shoot this, right?
Yeah.
Looks like my yolk.
It's just a yolk.
And this is from your...
I was going to do that one because the yolk broke. It's not as pretty.
right.
So
Cool, thank
I
you.
broke the yolk on one of them.
And these are the ingredients. The egg itself is probably from your own chicken farm
They are.
in your backyard.
They are actually from the eggs I got yesterday.
Oh, wow.
So they're as
So
fresh
these are
as can be.
freshly laid.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
So we just.
I'm a
we
little
shoot it?
nervous. I mean, I guess it's like eating an oyster.
That's kind of.
I mean, all your ingredients are very oyster-centric.
Hence
Do we
the-
have some, what do you call it, cocktail sauce?
I don't. I could have put some horseradish in there, and
All right,
Well,
we'll judge it after.
down the hatch.
Ugh, I don't know. I haven't done it yet, you guys.
you're mostly gonna get whiskey.
Yeah,
Is it good?
it's
It's a drink.
it's whiskey. You're just gonna get whiskey. You're not gonna even notice that egg yolk.
Next to
Swallow it, dude. Don't just let it.
Sorry, my gag reflex. My gag reflex is kicking in as soon as my tongue touched the egg.
I think. I think when I tried it with gin, which is a little subtler, and you get more of the other flavors. But this is probably better for you guys.
Yeah, the whiskey just overrid everything.
I think I would have maybe preferred with gin to see the other flavors.
Yeah.
That's a hair of a dog drink if I ever saw
It's
one.
that's why I said it was a grandpa drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a grizzled old detective's type of breakfast, right? Like, I could see Eddie Valiant doing a thing.
I think
like
a grizzled
that.
old detective would. Well, yeah. I'm trying to think like. I read the Sam Spade novel, Dashiell Hammett, and I really think that there's a drink like that he does drink at some point. He doesn't really sleep in the book. He doesn't.
Which is convenient for a fictional character.
Yeah.
I bet he doesn't shit either.
Amphetamines were legal back then, so you could just keep going.
Hey, baby, they're still legal. You just got to get some quack to prescribe them.
Thanks, Ryan. That was a
I am actually
never dull moment.
This is the before of any of the ones I was worried you guys would be like pass.
No, I'm
You got to get in the spirit of it.
I'm pretty adventurous. That didn't bother me.
Cool. I gotta get radical next time.
I don't know that you have to.
This one has gopher pheromone in it.
The weirdest sushi I ever had was a sushi topped with a raw quail egg, and I ate that.
Yeah.
So
That's actually with, and I love steak tartare, and that's generally what it's topped with is a quail yolk.
yeah.
I
Good
had
stuff.
at a sushi place in Orange County, and I need to look up and remember the name of it. It's a place that's been around forever, and I'd never had a raw scallop before. Have you guys had raw scallop?
I have not.
I always assumed it was the kind of shellfish that you would have to cook, but it was it was just seared with a torch ever so gently, so you had slightly dark edges, but for all intents and purposes, raw scallop, and it was the most delicious thing I've ever had in my life.
I don't
It was
know.
amazing.
I don't think really. I mean, you don't want to eat fugu, but I don't think there's really any seafood you can't eat raw. Like your body can handle it. I think. Like I've been watching a lot of Survivor, man.
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't eat a raw farm-raised shrimp.
No.
So tell us, Ryan, about this
Oh,
mushrooms ketchup.
Thank you for reminding me. Yes, I've gotten into this kick of watching this YouTube channel called 18th Century Cooking. It's technically called Townsend, and it's this guy has a company, Townsend and Sons, and he does 18th century cooking. And I bought the cooking cap he wears
saw
from his
that.
website, and it's very cute. It looks like I'm a criminal because it's striped.
like you're going to a penal colony in
Yeah,
South America. Yeah.
He's very
Papillon style.
he's very comforting. He's like a mix, he's like a PBS vibe, like a mixture of Bob Ross and like Mr. Rogers, and he just teaches you like foods from the 1700s, how they prepared it, recipes you can do. I've made 18th century chicken wings. The other night we made 18th century fried chicken, which is almost more of a tempura. It was so good, and it's like vinegar and lemon juice marinated for a couple hours, and it's weird, and like the number of recipes, almost everything has bay leaves and lemon juice, and I'm like,
Where were they getting these lemons?
well, I think it's probably a lot of the cookbooks are from people who are affluent.
Yeah, that would make sense. Very similar to our Jigger Beaker and Glass, where it's like
Exactly.
they have a drink that has citrus in it, and that was not an easy thing to acquire.
Yeah, and but there are other recipes that were definitely used every day. You know, this has been very popular nowadays. The no knead bread. Like that dates back to then. And where you just let bread sit for a day.
Yeah.
And
I don't need it.
zing. And he does also have people of color on the channel, like that, talking about the recipes from enslaved people at the time. And like, there's a woman who's a reenactor on at George Washington's estate, Mount Vernon, and it's great. I highly recommend it. Townsend, 18th century cooking, you'll find it.
I listened to a podcast called Ben Franklin's World, which I think you would find really interesting, and it's covering North America during the 18th century, and they cover everything from like pets, how pets were perceived, and just general life. So tell us about
specifically the mushroom ketchup. Well, tomato ketchup didn't actually exist until pretty much the 19th century, like mid 19th century. Before that, it was ketchup's
tomato ketchup.
Tomato ketchup. Did I say tomato?
You did.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It was made out of a bunch of different stuff. Mushroom ketchup there was like fish ketchup. Mushroom ketchup was a major one, which
was ketchup just a catch-all term for condiment back in these times?
What is a ketchup?
It's a sauce. It's basically a sauce. It's not thick like the ketchup we think of. It was more like Worcestershire sauce.
And they would have that on whatever.
Anything. Like you can put meats, and
was
a lot
ketchup
of times
seen as a low-class sort of thing? My perception was that ketchup was a thing that poor people used to put on their shitty food.
It was used a lot with soldiers, and I don't know about the aristocracy or whatever, but yeah, it was very common. Everybody kind of had their own ketchup, and the one that I made was just a mushroom ketchup with like 2 pounds of mushrooms that you salt and let sit for overnight, and then cook it for like 15 minutes with some onions and bay leaves and some.
Do you
other
have any
spices.
here of just that?
I
love
have
to
some
try it.
in that little bottle right there.
But it's like I can picture it as this potent umami. I mean, Worcestershire sauce
to me,
is very umami.
I'm imagining it to be.
flavorful.
I'm imagining it to be like a gravy, almost like a gravy, but it's not.
It's
that
not thick. It's very liquidy. There's no thickeners in it.
You can smell the mushroom.
Oh, I will say while we're doing that, in the book for that drink we just had, it says, "Shut eyes, open mouth, murmur prayers for the soul, pop in and swallow whole."
There you go. So, what have you had it? What have you served it with so far?
That's nice.
Yeah, I just made it this week, so I haven't had it on anything but this, except for just tasting it. But yeah, it's kind of, I described it as like a Worcestershire, but smoother with like not so much bite and kind of a smoother finish.
You could almost have it as a soup broth. It reminds me of like a nice mellow miso or something.
I'd like to
that.
reduce it down and like in a
Make a syrup?
Use it on a meat and grilling it. I don't know. Yeah, it's just plain old mushrooms.
Yeah. I mean, they obviously harvested them at the time, but I just made it from regular mushrooms. I'll put the recipe up, and then after you're done with it, you squeeze all the liquid out through a cheesecloth, and then the leavings you can dehydrate them and use them almost as like a salt sprinkle.
It's interesting.
So nothing's wasted, baby.
Cool.
I love it. I mean, it sounds gross when you first
does.
described it, but it is really good. Maybe I'll steal some from you.
Maybe
if you have a
I wonder if
large quantity.
I wonder if this will make some kind of renaissance in the culinary.
It does
field.
sound like a hipster thing to do at a restaurant.
yeah.
Like honestly,
Artisanal.
the idea of like an 18th century restaurant is kind of a cool idea.
It is kind of cool. I love it. Like watching, I've been addicted to watching these, and he has like 10 years of videos.
That's great.
So
right.
That's cool.
Well, sweet. Well, hey, I've got a
Ryan.
couple shouts out.
Sweet.
Shout out to Robinus Prime, who has been supporting us for a long time. Formerly, he was kind of just giving us money on the sly, but now he's formally
Just mailing it to us in a dirty envelope.
That would actually be nice, particularly if it was money with a picture of the Queen on it.
I'm like, what's the exchange rate today?
Good question. But he is now formally part of the Patreon as opposed to the under the table methods.
It was through PayPal.
I wouldn't say,
Just
you're making it
support
sound like
more.
it was like some kind of nefarious way of giving us money.
That's what I was trying to do. Mission accomplished. Thanks again, Robinus, and welcome. And of course, the booty boxes are still in progress. I promise. We do need to talk and get the logistics together.
We do.
I've got a few notes on what to do about it.
Okay.
And I'm coming to the close of finishing my little art project that you guys have seen little snippets of that
teasing it.
that would accompany it. Also, shout out to iTunes user Combat. Oh, I'm going to screw this up. Maybe I misspelled it. Combatimus. Is it?
Combatimus?
We'll go with Combatimus. Combatimus 217. The headline: Ryan Jett must be stopped, no matter the cost. Have you not seen this?
No, I don't have.
I'm the only person that's right that checks it. That's the headline. Thank you for this podcast. Can't stop laughing. Listen to it while I fish and make an attempt at sleeping. My friends get mad at me when we hang out because I won't stop talking about this podcast. So thank you.
Oh no.
Hope to see you all soon at TFCon. Regards, Elijah. So you're here's a question: are you fishing and making attempt at sleeping at the same time?
Like an old timey picture of it's tied to his toe, and he's
It's like a Norman Rockwell.
It's like a Huck Finn situation.
Yeah.
But I could see how that could work. But also, don't sacrifice your friendships for the Autopod Decepticast.
Unless you're a Patreon.
I think he should do whatever he wants. I don't care.
But I also do agree that Ryan Jett must be stopped.
This also could read as like, see you at TFCon, it's definitely our assassin.
But he's gonna
Sic Semper Tyrannis.
He's gonna catch you with a fishing rod. He's gonna reel you in. I don't know.
I like that.
Yeah.
I guess.
The cutest way to get kidnapped.
So thank you, Elijah, Combatimus 217. We appreciate you, and I'm happy you like the show. Also, quick shout out to our friends Yoshi and Greg at Transformers Reanimated, who we lended some voices to their most... It hasn't published yet, as of our recording time right now, which is what?
13th. This will come out a week from today.
They might coincide.
20th?
Yeah.
Whatever day that is.
So yeah, Ryan and I participated in that along with Mike Seibert and of course Yoshi and Greg. It was a fun episode, so go check that out.
Yeah,
TF Reanimated.
it forced us to, like I said in the episode, it feels like Greg just forced his friends to do terrible accents because it takes place in Australia.
Yeah.
So Aaron and I had to do Australian accents.
I think all of our characters were Australian.
All of
mine were.
We had to do Australian accents, and then we were runabout and run amok, so we had to do trucker accents.
That was fun.
I've heard on the side Greg was thoroughly entertained by your guys' accents, and I'm looking
I thought
forward
they
to
were
hearing
pretty good.
I was a little kid, so I had to do a high... Well, you were a little kid. You were
Yeah,
a girl. You
I
were
was
a
a girl.
little
I was
Australian
Faye.
girl.
Mm-hmm.
I was making up for my poor accent with trying to have a high kid voice. It was probably just a
can't
mangled
I
mess
can't
of
wait.
garbage.
I can't wait.
Please go check out Transformers Reanimated. Fun project. You get to hear more of our stupid voices. Last episode recap. The Beacon Buzzbirds discover a submerged berg. King Charlie T and Meggie G strike a deed to euthanize all the dolphins in the sea. The Shape of Water and all his fishy friends foray into Washington. They spawn a plan to... wait, was there a plan? I just saw... endless double cross attempts, basically, is all the last episode was. But the Dingbat Dinos are discharged to deliver DC from the Decepticon destruction, and that brings us to episode 25, The Day of the Machines, written by David Wise, animated by Toei, airing October 10th, 1985.
Hells yeah, almost my 8th birthday.
Okay, we are opening the episode. If we were playing a Transformers drinking game, or like maybe a Transformers bingo type game, there's no doubt a space on that bingo card would be Victor Caroli intro.
There's only like 10 of them.
You have to drink for it.
And I like him a lot.
Right up here, up top, where we see these gun turrets, it kind of reminded me of a G.I. Joe, that's looking thing. God, so much has just happened.
By the way, we should invent a drinking game, an APDC drinking game that our listeners can...
We already have a drinking game.
Oh, you mean the fact that
Just
we
drinking?
drink while recording?
Yes.
And that every other episode is a sloshy mess?
Yes. So I don't know how we could add to that.
When editing the last episode, I was surprised at how surly and inebriated I was.
It was fun. What Victor Caroli has told us is that it's midnight. Quantum Laboratories, well-guarded home of America's secret scientific inventions. And so we're panning into a building. Really, it's kind of a compound, but a building on that compound. And a guard comes into an office. We see an Amazon package, a violin case, and Soundwave in tape deck mode sitting on a desk.
I have so many questions right off the top here. How did Soundwave get in there?
Yeah.
Also, the security guard in just a second is just going to gather up this tape deck violin
He's trying
case
to be helpful.
and suspicious as fuck looking box. Like, this is the height of Ted Kaczynski time, and you're just going to gather up this box willy-nilly into your arms? Yeah. I mean, this is specifically what Ted did, was send packages to laboratories and universities. And I mean, in one particular case, ingeniously, he sent the package with the return address to who he was sending it to, and specifically put not enough postage on it, so it went back to that address. Unabomb stands for University and Airline Bomber.
I have a little bit of a different take on it.
Okay.
In that, this is a scientist's office. So the guard, he gathers everything up. He's going to take it and put it in a lost and found pen. But this is a scientist's office. It's his privilege to have whatever the fuck he wants on his fucking desk.
That's a good point. At this place, you better have everything off your desk by the end of the day.
Yeah, at Quantum Labs, it's like nowadays where you have to have everything off so they can deep clean through the night.
And they're gonna put it in the most maximum security lost and found ever.
Okay, well, then assume that's the case. Is it the security guards to do that, or the janitor who should be doing
I think
that?
the security guard's just doing it out of the good graces, and
he's just a busybody security guy.
still, I can
heart's
imagine
in the
the
right
scientist coming in the next morning and being like,
"Where's my fucking
God
shit?
damn it, he did it again. How many times do I have to tell him
did
to
it
stop? And he's got to go all the way downstairs and go and get the key and
I want to
his
listen.
ID.
carry all this shit back up to his office.
I want to listen to my tunes, Carl.
He's gonna the guard's gonna come in later and take all the furniture out of the office and put it in the lost
desk
and
and
everything.
books.
Yeah.
Look, these scientists always forgetting stuff. What are these books doing here?
I mean, it's a 4-volume set, Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yeah.
Get it out of here.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's got a country
I don't know either. I don't think he did.
accent. Also, that sound wave is the largest sound wave we've seen today.
It's pretty big, yeah. It used to fit just neatly inside. Well, I guess he can
Spike's
mass
hand.
change to whatever size he wants, but yeah.
He gets it all picked up though.
Yeah, like a real asshole. And then, okay, this Lost and Found, which
Yeah.
is a cage.
Yeah, it's great.
Also, I don't understand having a Lost and Found where the cage doesn't go all the way to the ceiling. It's an open top. You'll see it in a minute, but it's an open topped cage, so you could, if you really wanted to, just crawl over it and get that shit. I don't know. It's dumb. That's what I'm saying.
So then what happens?
I assume they think people aren't going to do that. Like you're not.
I
gonna have
guess.
a lot of
I guess it's
thieves
true,
in the
but
building.
most Lost and Founds aren't even locked up. I would
Right.
imagine.
No, this is a special lost and found.
At one of America's secret scientific locations.
Quantum laboratories.
Okay, the guard puts Soundwave in the items in the lost and found cage, locks it, and walks away. Soundwave immediately flips into robo mode, releases Laserbeak, jams a key in Laserbeak's face, and commands him to unlock Megatron from the violin case, which he does. If I were Laserbeak and I were asked to unlock a violin case, I'd say, shit, bitch, you're the one with the opposable thumbs.
Or Megatron could probably just transform and bust out of it.
It's true. Yeah. I don't know that they're going to pick up that case and take it back home with them.
Yeah.
Megatron goes from violin mode into robot mode. He tells Soundwave to grab the UPS package and hop to it. In the greatest case of overkill since the classic diss track Mic Drop hit the charts, Megatron uses his fusion cannon to free them from the chain link storage area that they're enclosed within.
I like, how carefully they use the key to unlock the case he's in, and then they just blast out.
Yes.
This whole sequence is a balance between very loud, violent activity
and sneakiness
to the job done, and ninja-like stealth.
It's ridiculous.
They stealthily kind of creep along the side of a building and fly over some
It's a
tanks.
full moon. Oh.
Let's all do our best.
That's annoying for everyone listening.
Again, they're being stealthful. They fly over these tanks as to not be detected, but then they command Laserbeak to just blow a hole in the top of the ceiling of the facility that they just landed on.
Which is, they could have just done this anyway, right? Without all this.
Yeah. I mean, they get in here and get to business so quickly. It really wouldn't matter what kind of disturbances they caused because they accomplished their objective very quickly.
I do like them watching them be stealthy, though. I do like the...
Yeah, a lot of the nitpicky stuff. I know I pick on a lot of stuff. I think it's just for visuals. I understand it's a kid's cartoon. It's for visuals and to be fun. Because why have a huge ass scary computer face?
Yeah, that is I don't remember a lot of these Transformers episodes as a child. And rewatching this, I remember this episode.
It is an iconic visual. Even the way it pops off, the way the pink and like pops off of the blue background that everything else is housed in. I like the illustration of this computer face. So
We're talking about Twerk 3.
Yeah, they're sneaking into a facility where we learn that houses Twerk 3, the most powerful computer on this planet.
Which does not appear to be an acronym.
Not that I could find.
Why? Why not?
Does it talk about it in the script?
No.
Okay.
It's not. I had some ideas.
That face is truly scary.
It's like a tiki mask meets a sort of African mask. It's very tribal in a lot of ways.
It's true.
It's like
it's freaky.
It's like they just put an Easter Island statue in there and hooked up a keyboard to it.
And it looks evil right off the bat. It looks
it
looks
it
like
is
Megatron.
frowning,
Why do that?
and it has this arched eyebrows.
Yeah,
Well,
and
again, why make the computer look evil? Why have a computer face at all? Transformative, originating robot quail.
Nice.
That's now it's canon. To take command of Twerk 3, Megatron reveals a huge robotic phallus from his forehead.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Oh God.
And he penetrates Twerk's quivering circuit hole.
Yeah, and as he does it, he said, Twerk says illegal access, and Meg says,
Oh no, no!
in the creepiest voice, and then he
Yeah, so
mind fucks the machine.
Yeah, it's so weird. And the robot's face is all like,
Oh, yeah.
that would be a good GIF right there.
It's true.
Just that.
Except we never make gifts.
What Megatron is doing is blowing the load of his personality, his instincts, his contempt for the weaklings who would deny him the ultimate greatness that he deserves. And he's putting all of that inside. He's inseminating Twerk 3 with this knowledge, feeling, whatever it is. And it works. Twerk 3 is now Megatron's to command. And to your all's point, this animated sequence is amazing.
It's
actually.
pretty great.
It's really good.
It is very psychedelic.
It's also distressing.
And what we're referring to specifically is Twerk 3's face just contorts as Megatron is doing his mind fuck thing to him, and it's just very smoothly animated, though. It's very nice, if not freaky. Megatron withdraws, and he places a chip on some wacky looking alien machines. They look straight out of Cobra Law, frankly.
Yeah, they're pretty crazy. And if you notice, when they open that box, Soundwave opens the box of the mind chips that he has with him, that makes that insectile noise.
Yeah. It's
Like the
cicada
from the
noise.
solar needle. Like thing.
Sounds like Missouri in August. I love it.
Yeah, it's great.
Every 17 years.
I know we have cicadas every year.
It is.
It's true, but there are 17.
Are they on a cycle?
There are 17-year cicada. There's different species. There's 17-year cicadas which do that thing. I think this might be that year because it's 2020 and all fucking bets are off.
Yeah, no kidding. It'll be like some cicadas that have come out that have been away from for a millennia.
What are you guys doing? Oh my God, the country's on fire.
We're going back.
They just quickly bury themselves back in the ground. Yeah, I don't blame them. All right, so he's evil now. Twerk 3.
Yes, Megatron commands Twerk 3 to take control of the machine that Soundwave just put one of these cicada chips on, and Twerk 3 uses it to attack Soundwave. So the test is passed. They now have control, and Twerk 3 can control anything that has this chip placed on it.
Well, let's make cicada chips.
Yeah.
Hey, insects are the food of the future, baby.
But cicadas, you think?
I don't know. My dog eats them and vomits.
My kid, so we have they'll climb up on our tree and then they
molt.
They molt. So, but in late summer and early fall, I have all those cicada husks attached to my tree, and my kids will take, like my youngest one would take those husks and he mashed them up into a powder. Like he was experimenting. He didn't drink it or eat it, but he was like,
I thought that's where it was going.
He had this container of cicada husk powder.
Wow.
He may have the cure for cancer in that container.
My chickens like to eat them.
Or he may just have a bunch of cicada husk powder.
Maybe it's
Add it to the mushroom ketchup.
Yes.
Maybe for chickens, it's the equivalent of eating chicken skin. For us.
I think it's just a crunchy treat, and it looks like a bug. So like,
So it's like, and we'll eat anything.
yeah,
Because we're
pretty
fucking
much.
Chickens.
Pretty much.
Cicada, by the way, I don't remember what the decibel level is, but it can generate noise as loud as a lawnmower.
I believe it.
Yeah, I love the sound.
I do too. It's very relaxing.
Megatron checks on Twerk's knowledge of Sun Tzu's art of war. But before you start an attack, you got to shore up your own shit. He commands Twerk to take control of all the machines on this scientific campus and prepare defenses. I do think the animation models are on point.
Yeah,
They're great.
The whole episode is animated really well. I distinctly remember as a kid being really like intrigued by the various types of machines.
There's a lot of weird robots.
And how they were designed.
And for what purpose?
Yeah, well, they're just cool looking, and it kind of like, to me it alludes to the designs of like Fluoro Dairy stuff at some point. Even though I know he probably had no involvement with this, but it kind of is a sign of things to come.
What is he building in there?
Meanwhile,
So we're going to another building.
Yeah, research and development.
We got a couple of eggheads debating whether artificial intelligence like Twerk 3 should exist or not. After all, Twerk has the ability to take over the world if he wants to, and it feels like an ethical discussion that should have taken place months before you started construction on
Too little, too late.
Exactly, yes.
Dr. Paul Gates. Is he related to Bill Gates?
No. They're two.
Oh, Paul Allen, Bill Gates.
Paul Allen.
So the scientist's name is Paul Gates. This is about the time that Microsoft was starting to get buzz in the technology world, and so the two co-founders, Paul Allen and Bill Gates, that's a tribute to them.
Oh, it isn't,
or
really?
It's, at least it's a portmanteau.
It's thought to
be.
be.
I don't see how it couldn't be.
Interesting.
It'd be coincidence, but it's probably. We'll just say it is.
All right,
We'll just say it's real.
It's canon.
Right on.
That's in the bank. This other fucking dude has a remote control
For his
to a cabinet that is not in your office.
yeah. What else have you got a remote control to for
Just
my
fucking
life?
straight- I know that he's been setting this off every day
Yeah, there's
to
pranks.
try to make this person, to
There's
make Dr.
pranks.
Paul Gates crazy. Yeah. I also, this reminded me like of harkening back to your Gremlins 2 intro, Aaron. I don't know if you remember, like everything in the Clamp building is supposed to be like automated. And so they have like the lights shut off if you don't move around enough, which is real now. That's a real thing in offices where like the lights, which
Happens in
is
my office.
good. But then when Mr. Clamp is meeting with Billy in his cubicle, Gizmo is hiding in the filing cabinet, and he gets restless, and it pops open slightly. And Mr. Clamp is like, "What's with the drawer?" And Billy says, "It just opens every once in a while in case you need something." And Mr. Clamp's like, "Oh, didn't know about that. I like it."
Mr. Clamp was supposed to be an equivalent to Donald Trump, which is weird because Clamp is actually
He's affable and friendly.
and I think inventive. Actually has an inquisitive spirit. where
Ideas,
I don't know
thoughts.
that you could
Yes.
apply
Of
that.
conscious.
We learn that Twerk is the first computer that can build other machines, robot welders, robot controlled doors, hell, even robot sex workers. And you know what? It's late. We should get home.
I do love that. That's what I was going to say. The prank scientist looks at his watch and goes,
I didn't realize how late it was. We should go home and get some sleep. Perhaps you're right. You'll probably feel better about our work in the What the?
and Dr. Gates agrees, and I like to think that they're a couple.
That's nice.
Could be.
Sure.
Because, like, why else did you say it like that?
Because they've both been working hard on this project that they have
Working
conflicting
hard,
opinions on.
hardly working. Should we build this robot that control everything? Well, it's done.
Before they can walk out of the office, the door shuts. Twerk 3 makes it known on a monitor in the office that he is now in control of this party. And so the nerdos, they grab some tools. They're going to need to re-engineer their Visiphone for long-distance transmission to get help.
Mm-hmm.
A quick aside, I like to think that scientist that opened up his filing cabinet also can hit a button and the other guy's pants will just fall down in the lunchroom at the quantum laboratories.
That's a super specific remote.
It was kind of like when I pantsed Aaron.
Yeah.
He's doing it remote
Call
control.
back.
All right, so they're like,
Son of a bitch.
they're fucking locked in the, they're like, oh no.
That doorknob has a face on it.
Yeah. The little flashing buttons on the top.
Oh no, Twerk 3's telling him what's up. You cannot get out of here.
Do your Nurgle impression for Twerk 3.
You cannot get out of here. Spit up, spit up, spit up.
Megatron and his Decepticons are now flying over a fleet of oil tankers. Rumble fires one of those robo-control circuits down on a tanker, which now makes Twerk the captain of that boat. They load up and fire on everything, taking control of the whole fleet. Fire those circuits
Rumble
on everything.
is having a fucking ball.
Yeah.
He is just laughing.
I think that'd be a great job. I guess so now these chips just can attach to anything mechanical and control them.
Basically, yeah.
Anything.
There may be no computer systems on those ships.
Right, no.
Which, I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but I can let that go. That's fine.
Sure.
But also, why are 1 million tankers in formation like it's World War II?
That's not how it works.
Not at all. Like, they don't all wait till get full and then all go at once.
And are they all from the same oil distribution
No,
company?
you
are
can
they
see-
different
you
brands
can see
that
they're
just happen to be in the ocean
Yeah,
together?
they're all coming from different points. They're converging, and I like how Optimus really
Oil coming from Newfoundland, from Florida, from Great
South
Britain,
America.
from Cape Town.
Yeah, and Optimus is, he is putting two and two together here.
What a great detective he is. We are at Autobot headquarters. Teletran 1 is hollering at Optimus to report that all these tankers are headed towards what they know as the Decepticons' undersea headquarters. However, I believe we know that headquarters is not in the middle of the Atlantic.
Spang in the middle of the Atlantic, yeah.
I don't know. Next episode, we've got a whole new headquarters, so
Yeah.
fuck if I know where they actually
The
reside.
Decepticons keep them guessing.
Yeah, because like unless they swam around the world in that episode where they swam off the cliff to the Decepticon base.
Was the Decepticon base not in the Atlantic during the Nergil episode? Because they went over there and they attacked DC.
Oh, you're right.
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
I think that maybe their main base is is in the Pacific, and then this is their satellite base, just like our B studio here in Caleb's grandmother's house.
Nah, who cares?
it's good to be
It's their
portable.
base, whatever. And all the tankers are headed that way.
They carry a vast energy supply, Optimus Prime. No shit, Teletron, they're oil tanker.
I'm going to start calling him Sherlock Prime.
Then an incoming message from Quantum Laboratories. Optimus Prime, it's like he knows him. What's wrong, Dr. Gates?
I know. I was like, holy shit, the Prime and Dr. Gates know each other.
Dr.
And he
Gates-
later calls him Paul.
Yeah, Dr. Gates explains they've lost control of Twerk 3, who has commandeered all the machines on the compound, and that's where Prime says, "We won't let you down, Paul." And I'm just... Yeah, the implication is not only does Prime know who he is, he knows him socially.
Sure.
They've been at the same cocktail parties,
Yes.
maybe at a fundraiser,
They're members
an
out
Eyes
of-
Wide Shut party.
Oh, yeah. They're members out at the club.
That's
They golf together.
I guess Caleb may disagree with me, but I will say I think Prime is very capable in this episode. I think this is a Prime-centric, Prime-driven episode.
I will say that his actions at the end of the episode are I give them merit.
Well, he also single-handedly takes on the whole Twerk
That's what I'm saying.
infiltration.
That's
Okay.
what I just said.
Well, you said the end of it.
Well, I didn't want to give it away.
what to do, guys. Do we help the quantum dorks, or do we take on the tankers converging at Decepticon headquarters? I know, we'll split up. Hound, Spike, and Skyfire go to the Decepticon base. Everybody else goes to Quantum Labs.
Why would you send Spike the
Well,
more dangerous?
this is the
He
thing.
doesn't count as a troop.
He asks to go, and Prime's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
And so from this point on, I'm not even going to ever mention it again of like why send Spike. It's just because it's always
We'll do
why
it
send
every
Spike.
episode.
You're right. You're right.
Prime's crew arrives at Quantum. I like how he comes to a stop at the lift gate, transforms into a robot, and then just tears off the gate and walks into the compound.
What's the point of that? Very dramatic.
Like you could step over it, but or just have driven through it to begin with.
Right. That would have been way cooler.
But maybe now he can use it as a bat to battle all of these tanks.
I love
Torque
that part
3
right
has
here
sent
where we
in.
are, where Wheeljack just straight up, in pretty badass fashion, rips the turret off that tank, realizes they're all robots, and is like, it's a free-for-all, y'all. Like, we can kill them because there are no humans in these things.
Right.
I think, but I would think Prime would be like, wait, maybe the other ones have humans in them. We need to
We
check.
can't be sure.
We need to check all of them.
They've also been tipped off by the scientists that Torque 3 is in control of all these, so they should know already they're no humans.
You can't be too careful.
Yeah, and I think realistically, I wonder if they have to do that to pass if the animators
Sure,
have to pass
that's a
some
good point.
sort of like code
Right.
of ethics of some sort.
Nobody's dying inside
No
these
one's dying.
tanks.
Everything's okay.
They show bodies, charred bodies flying out.
The discovery that there's nobody in the tanks gives the Autobots free reign
Yeah,
to
they go
fire
to
at
town.
will. Prime, Prowl, the guys, they get some good shots in, but soon they start to be overwhelmed by these remote-controlled defenses. And you know what Autobots do when they're stuck in a corner.
They cry.
I do. Before we get to what you're talking about, I do like Prime's line where he goes,
Good grief. More bad news.
"Way to keep it clean, Prime."
In a Charlie Brown
I
kind of
know.
Ugh.
So what? So the Autobots are in a jam. Time to call in the heavy hitters.
That's right. The Dinobots, of course. I hope they can get here before we've had it.
They do also. Before that, Prime does say, "Aim for the tires," which he learned from the Transfixatron episode.
Yes, and also, I can't remember when we were talking about this, but Colin definitely has some Ironhide Prime transitional
does.
issues during this part.
In the same way that we did when we recorded the Australian redneck episode.
So let me just play that for us here.
The tires! Aim for the tires! Wheeljack, take those lasers out!
I feel like maybe he was recording both Ironhide and Prime on the same
There's
day.
only one way to deal with this, and that's to stomp it flat. Dinobots! I only hope they can get here before we've had it.
He had Prime.
Yeah, I never noticed that. I never noticed that he
He drifts a little.
He gets a little southern accent.
the tires.
Aim for the tires. Aim for the aim.
At this point, Prime has really started to just rely on the Dinobots as the nuclear app
every
option
episode.
every time.
And
He's
again,
taken
why
them-
not just bring them to begin with?
Well, they're really trying to sell those Dinobots in the stores at this time, I'm sure.
Well, and Prime is now taking them for granted. You know, whenever they're in a pickle, they use them. Do you think they invite them to the company picnic? I doubt it.
I don't think
Second-class
so.
citizens.
they put them back in their kennel.
I
When they're
can imagine a kid playing with the Transformers toys, much like myself, and being like, setting up the scenario like, okay, it's not enough. I got to bring in the Dinobots now.
Yeah,
That's
it's
me,
a good,
like,
it's a good
Yeah,
play
we're flashing together.
time set. Yeah,
No, Mom, I don't want to go outside and play.
that was very Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
I don't want to go outside and play.
Back from break. The Autobots are getting their shit all kinds of fucked up. And we didn't have to wait long. The Dinobots
No, they were right.
show up immediately on foot.
That's true. I mean, they can fly.
They probably already knew that they were going to have to help out, so they're probably already on standby anyway. Like,
Grimlock's just sitting outside the gates, arms crossed, just waiting. He's like, any day, anytime.
Are Dinobots like firemen? They are like 24 on, 24 off. They're just like, and they're 24
they
on. They're
seem
just
that
hanging
way.
around
They
the
seem that way.
station, just
Yeah.
waiting for that alarm to go off, and then they get into action.
They're first responders for sure.
Yeah,
It seems like they're last responders.
True. Yes, correct.
Here we get the second installment of the Dinobot arc, where Grimlock says, "We help. We always get Autobots out of messes they get into."
Yep.
Yeah, and it's good. It's really good episodic storytelling. That there's an arc with different writers, so
Yeah.
there must have been like somebody.
Telling them what to do.
Yeah, well, but not having continuity because a lot of other shit falls apart. But anyway,
That one bit of continuity that ultimately results in what we'll see later, the Dinobots separating from the Autobots. That's a pretty cool
it's
planning.
great. It's great.
Ryan, I'm sure you really like this sequence because Dinobots are fucking shit up. All of them except Swoop. We don't see Swoop in this part at all, but they're doing some damage. Snarl spikes some tanks with his tail. Grimlock plays bowling for turrets. Slag melts them into slag.
If you want to notice, Slag, before he does that, spends a lot of time opening and closing his mouth, and he's just making noise. Just put the pin in that and remember that for script deviations.
Okay.
Okay.
Unfortunately, after this fight, the Dinobots disappear forever.
Yeah, that another very weird. Go home.
Yeah.
The Autobots see trapped humans on I think it's like a 4th floor window. Optimus Prime climbs on Sludge's head, who lifts Prime up to save them.
It's Dr. Paul Gates and his lover,
His nameless
husband.
lover.
his companion.
The
Yeah,
Autobots,
he is never named.
Doctor Companion.
the Autobots and scientists try to figure out what the fuck has happened. Whatever it is, I'm sure that Megatron was involved. The team discovers the circuitry involved in these remote takeovers and 90 decibels. That's my note here. Cicadas can get to 90 decibels.
Oh, great.
Nice.
Apparently,
Got to it.
I did research that.
Awesome. Also, Sparkplug is here now. For some reason, he's just showed up to explain how the chips work. And the chip... Okay, I don't want to
Just because Sparkplug is handy doesn't mean he knows about technology.
I think he built. Didn't he build a?
Oh, yeah, he built an Autobot.
Yeah, dialed.
Not to get too far ahead here, but so just to make a note for some notes I have later, that chip is still definitely active
So
because it's making the noise.
So you're saying that Prime puts it in there, and all of a sudden he's
I think I know where you're going with this
he
later.
fucks himself over, and then Prime just puts himself under the control of Twerk 3.
Well, I think it's
In
definitely
theory, yes, that should have happened.
yes. That's what I'm saying. Is I think it's an animator error, or it's a sound design issue error because the chip is not flashing. It's supposed
Maybe the
to
hole
be
in
dead.
his wrist that he just put it in is covered by silicone or something.
Well, I got
like
a couple things.
Yeah.
here.
okay.
So it's supposed to be dead, but they put the noise in there, which implies that it's alive. And so Prime puts it into his wrist, which, yes, that's where I thought it was going to happen, was he was going to get taken over. That's not what happens. So then my thought was like, yeah, there's a protective cover in there. He put it into a sealed, like, Faraday cage or something in there. And so then later, I thought it was going to go in a real different direction than it does. So we'll just have to wait to get there.
All right. Well, Twerk is wise to the game. The Autobots try to bust into Twerk's lair. They're immediately met with quick and heavy resistance, but the Dinobots are gone, so we're going to have to deal with it on our own. And then we transition to Skyfire, Hound, and Spike. Remember, they're in this episode. There's something else going on.
Cool.
They're flying above the
It's
convoy
not a
of
David
takers.
Wise script if a bunch of shit isn't going on in other places.
I
for
like
no
that
reason.
though. I like it when you've got two. It's a very Star Trek. It's a very Star Trek Next Generation.
It
thing.
is if it's done well. It's not here.
Okay.
It's also not a David Wise script if this wasn't used from something
100 more
else or
times.
used again in other properties.
I'm getting so far ahead with all these tangents, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's fine. They're flying over the tankers. The Decepticons have built an oil platform, and all of the tankers are parking around it, and they're going to suck up all that oil and pump it down to their headquarters.
Great idea.
That's the plan. But there's a force field dome protecting that pump platform.
Too bad we already used the Dinobots because it's been proven they're really good at breaking through shields.
Yeah, no kidding. But Spike, who knows a thing or two about oil platforms,
Yep.
he's got a plan. And what they're doing is they're landing on one of the tankers that hasn't gotten to the platform yet. And they're essentially going to plant themselves so that they can sneak into the platform along with the tanker and ambush the Decepticons.
I do like Skyfire half transforming and landing, skidding to a halt on the ship. I think that's a pretty cool.
This is
Do you,
also
do you
a
like
soft-
everybody walking out of his crotch?
dick? Yeah.
Sure, of course I do.
This is also jerk off to it.
That's another GIF.
This is also a really solid plan. It's a good plan. Like
It'd be a good plan if there was more of them. They should have taken the team that went with Prime should have gone with these guys.
well, I'll talk about that later. It's almost like the whole Twerk 3 thing is unnecessary.
I'm okay with it. I like the sequences in that.
You just like flashing colors and noises.
Well, yeah, of course I do.
the ship captain agrees to hide the Autobots so that they can sneak through this barrier. And then we transition to Megatron and Generation 2 Hook.
Yeah. Alt colors.
They're managing this operation. Out of nowhere, Hound now's the time. He ambushes, and Megatron
Why be stealthy?
unleashes the shooters. After a bit of a skirmish, Laserbeak grabs Spike and brings him across enemy lines. Megatron commands Hound and Skyfire to drop their weapons, which they do.
Yeah, it's just good. Spike has immediately just become a liability. Great. Glad you came.
And maybe instead of just coming out of hiding, you could have stayed and gathered information and said, hey, send more guys.
Yeah.
Turns out there's more than one Decepticon here.
Oh, shit.
Spike-
All the Decepticons are here.
Spike just gets snagged by Laserbeak.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And that's the leverage where he makes Hound and Skyfire drop their weapons. Ugh. I wish he'd drop Spike.
Especially after they drop their weapons. They're like, we don't give a fuck. See ya.
Yeah.
Back to Quantum Labs. The Autobots have their hands full with Quark's slave machines.
Slaves.
Prime is strung up by some tentacled thing. Sideswipe gets in between.
Molybdenum alloy cables is what they are specifically.
Oh, I'm glad you interrupted me to make sure that was.
It's a real element.
Oh, that's great.
Where do we acquire this element?
Well, it's a refractory metallic element that readily
had
forms
to
hard,
ask.
stable carbides and has the 6th highest melting point of any element. Molybdenum is most commonly used as a high-temperature, corrosion-resistant metal alloy in steel, cast iron, and superalloys for the military and defense industry, semiconductor industry, and specialty machine shops.
It's a key ingredient in mushroom ketchup.
It's hard to get.
It seems that all what those tentacles would be good for doing is reaching into
Giving massages.
mold. I was thinking more like
Oh.
pulling metal out of like what are they called? Smelting pools or
Yeah. Yeah. Big vats of molten
So you're
metal.
questioning what those would be for?
here.
Well, maybe Torque 3 built that thing
I
specific.
can
like-
see him
It's
running
just
ar-
here.
Yeah.
Maybe it hasn't been distributed.
I see him running around
There
inside inside Unicron doing stuff.
we go. Oh hell yeah!
Yeah.
Fucking all kinds.
like
of
his
shit.
immune system.
I do like this fight sequence a lot.
It's
I
great.
Like,
It's
I
really
think
great.
It's really good.
The fight sequences in this are really good, and I feel like the only reason this portion is in the episode.
It's a cool concept. I like it.
Prowl has to fight some kind of robotic gator-mouthed machine, and Ironhide is getting sprayed down by a caustic hose. Again, no Dinobots at
Yeah.
this point. The guys eventually take control of the situation and KO these metallic menials. They enter the facility and discover a maze, and they know it's a trap, but Prime is going to take point. Talk about a few funny things from this fight.
Thank you, thank you for the mandate. I mean, it is cute that Ironhide kind of literally lives up to his name of like having a tough hide because he's not. It doesn't really hurt him.
But then he puts his finger.
He puts his finger in it and the hose explodes. It's very silly. Sideswipe has the lamest attack where he just kind of like makes the robot grabbing him, hold its own hands, and somehow this disables
I like
it.
that. I like how. I like the shot after he does it where the machine's just kind of he's like has
it
grappled
doesn't
his own,
make
he's like,
any sense.
Ooh. I like that a lot. I like this whole sequence. Everybody's got their own different robot to fight. It's pretty badass. As a young child, I really enjoyed this a lot. The variety. I like the variety.
Yeah,
solid
no, it's
variety.
cool.
It's
It's
fun.
cool.
It's a fun battle.
With Masterpiece, I always say, that's not going to happen. I would like to see toys of this. I'd like to see you can buy a Twerk 3 and it comes with the little
That's a good
the
idea.
little robots. I think it would be badass.
If Ryan would get his 3D printer working, maybe
Yeah.
we could commercialize that for
we keep
ourselves.
We could
that's-
safely just never mention it.
Yeah. It would be cool. I would wear a Twerk 3 t-shirt.
Oh shit! I'm writing that down too. The Autobots, they've taken out each of their individual attackers, and now they are infiltrating the maze that is Torque 3's kind of labyrinth headquarters area. It should be noted, Prime does take point. He tells everybody to kind of stand down.
Well, that's
and he's
what I
gonna
was-
take the lead.
That's what I was gonna say. Is he takes on this whole complex single handedly. Now, why? I don't know. Maybe so he knows that nobody can be in trouble and he can't be distracted.
I think it's more a heroic thing, like just let me handle it. I don't want to.
And he does.
If there's a trap here,
Spoiler,
that
we'll see.
I don't want you guys to get hurt by it.
Yeah.
I think in the classical sense, from the Greeks story, I forget of the story of the Minotaur. It's always a one-on-one thing. When the hero enters the maze and has to encounter the antagonist, it's always a one-on-one deal. I think this is a harken back to the classic Minotaur scenario. Yeah,
You're giving David Wise a lot of credit.
I don't know. He's a fucking writer. I mean, I would hope that he is aware of things like that.
He's a writer of like 3 scripts that he just uses for every show.
Guys was a writer.
Oh yeah, R.I.P. He's fine. I give him a lot of shit. He's fine.
This is a good episode.
It is a good episode. I
really
enjoy
like
this episode.
And to be fair, I think he doesn't necessarily just take the entire concept of an episode and remake it in the different universe or brand property. I think he just takes a lot of elements, like the concept of a computer taking over.
The guy has
machines.
The guy has had a deadline.
Literally.
You got to crank these bitches out.
Yeah.
Well,
so whatever.
and that's fine. But more that I'm just
Sell
infuriated
toys,
with the
baby.
way he writes stories that have elements, huge elements that are meaningless.
Yeah, well, like Twerk 3.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that. We're getting to it slowly. Back to Spike, Jetfire, and Hound. They've been captured. They're in a prison cell in Decepticon headquarters. Is it in the headquarters or is it on the oil platform? Which, by the way, was built very quickly.
It's the platform.
Okay.
No Constructicons. That would have been good.
Their first plan was terrible, but Spike has something else up his sleeve.
Another plan that is pointless.
We're going to go back to Quantum Labs. Prime is making his way through the halls as Twerk taunts him, sending more drones after him. Prime blasts a hole in one wall to evade one drone, only to face a very complicated nail gun drone. He then takes that one out, but he gets accosted by a multi-arm Octobot. This robot places one of the slave circuits on Optimus Prime. Prime is now under Twerk's control. Mm-hmm. He approaches Twerk's control room and meets him face to face.
That's a crazy robot, by the way, that grabs him.
I like it.
You're right, Caleb. It is kind of Floro Derry-esque.
Yeah.
Derry did make a pass at all of the designs of these things, so it could be he modeled these. We're in Twerk's control room, face to face, Prime, Twerk. Soon all Autobots will be his slaves, and he will be a master of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we go to commercial. We're getting very close to the conversation Ryan wants to have.
I know. I'm just like
I can feel the energy.
so horny for
I can feel the energy coming from you. We're back from commercial. Turns out Prime's loss of control was all a ruse. While Twerk was straight frontin', Prime slipped a dead circuit linker from earlier in the episode into that Octobot's hand. And then that Octobot placed it on him. And that doesn't make Twerk happy. He commands the robots in the throne room to destroy Optimus Prime, but before they can do that, Prime slams his fists into Twerk's controls, destroying Twerk himself and releasing his control over all the machines. So, before you get into whatever you're going to say, Ryan, I would like to say that even if you take out the thought that that circuit was still alive, let's pretend that circuit's dead. How complicated a scheme is that to take your dead circuit, put it in the hand of the machine that has presumably has another live circuit on it, and that machine knows it has that live circuit.
That's some massive sleight, like David Blaine's sleight of hand. Yeah. So that's really complicated. Here's what I thought, and that pissed me off. Here's where I thought they were going, which I think is way stronger. So Prime, that circuit that was alive because of the noise, whatever, that he puts in his wrist. I thought that what they were going with was Prime's internal computer had analyzed the circuit and like copied it and like made a program against it. And so therefore, when he gets it put on him, it doesn't do anything, which is way simpler.
And so this is what you think they were going for, or this is...
That's what he
no,
wanted
it's
them.
a way simpler, better
he thought
idea.
that would be the
sure.
explanation
Okay,
when
fine.
Twerk...
Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
But no, it's magic. Close-up magic.
Yeah, magic's fine. Magic lives in Transformers.
lives in all
And
of us.
Now,
Yes, it
also,
does.
punching a control panel of a supercomputer definitely doesn't destroy it.
But at the very least, we got more contorted Twerk face action.
Maybe that is what Twerk means. His face twerks around. Maybe
it's
they should have called it
a
Twerk.
contortionist?
Twerk 3. They should have called it Twerk 3. It's like twerking.
Still twerking.
Yeah.
Don't understand why you do that at all. But we're having fun here. Twerk 3.
Yeah.
Why the fuck not?
I love it.
And his voice sounds like Future or something, one of those like auto-tune rappers.
Yeah. And he just listens to Miami bass like nonstop.
All right, now we're getting somewhere.
Now I'm on board.
I'm all in for Twerk 3. Where's Jazz and Blaster when you need them?
I know.
They're gonna make this party happen.
That's right.
And this is gonna bring us to more conversation pretty quickly.
Probably.
that I know Ryan wants to have. This change in Twerk's status is picked up by Soundwave, who I guess has a monitor that knows when Twerk has been damaged or not.
Twerk's fucked up.
So Soundwave alerts Megatron, who isn't worried because he has some kind of new NES Advantage controller that will allow him to continue to maintain control over this fleet. So to your point, the real power lies
in the remote.
In this remote control. You don't need Twerk at all. You just need that remote and the circuits.
Which they had, the circuits, and presumably the remote that the circuits went to.
Right.
The whole Twerk thing is completely superfluous.
Yeah.
Unnecessary entirely. I was so pissed off when that happened. Threw my computer across the room.
Well, it is just kind of saying fuck it with the story.
Yeah. I get it. It's a kid's show, but like that's just the laziest writing I've ever did see.
Well, I'll tell you who's not lazy. These scientists, because they give Optimus Prime a prototype hydrofoil that is the fastest machine on water so that they can get out there.
I wish they had a plane.
Yeah.
That's way faster than any boat.
Well, you know what? You don't know that.
I do.
Not this boat.
Well, sure, you're right.
They get out there pretty fast. Prime commands Sparkplug to drive it to the ocean, and they're going to handle this biz.
Well, at some point, since Sparkplug has worked everywhere, he's definitely been a ship's captain.
This boat's insane, by the way.
Hydrofoil is what they call it.
I like how it lands on the freighter.
That's crazy. It ramps up onto the freighter.
And they're all standing on it like when it stops, they don't get like thrown off.
Yeah, they would definitely keep going.
Just watch it in a minute.
Oh, so here we have
Just
Spike.
watch it.
We're back at the prison. Stand clear because Spike has a plan. He has an electromagnet that they just, I guess, left in the cell, and he's going to use it to help them escape. Spike magnetizes the guards on the other side, which is who? It's Rumble and...
It's like Ravage, I think.
Rumble and Ravage. They're stuck to the wall, Rumble and Ravage, which allows the Autobots to escape.
This makes me so mad.
They kick a hole through the door and get out of there, and there's nothing Rumble and Ravage can do about it. And we're talking about Hound and Skyfire, some pretty tough Autobots.
This is my
Ravage and Rumble, I mean, they could just bust out and fuck those guys up anyway.
This is my fucking point. The electromagnet, again, is stupid and ridiculous. Maybe if you had, like, all the Seekers out there, it would be a threat. But you've got the goddamn... You telling me that Skyfire alone can't handle the cassettes?
It's literally the Z team.
So they're stuck to the wall. Why? And also, they could just have busted through the door and take it. This episode made me hot.
I agree. Autobots are approaching the pump site. Megatron
also, the electromagnet doesn't make them unable to summon help.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Which is all they could do regardless.
In the best case.
Autobots approaching the pump site. We get to see the scene Caleb is excited about. It's a weird looking boat. I don't see how that boat is constructed for speed.
The way they stick this landing is just like insane.
We just saw. What was that? What
that
moment was that?
Round about 18 minutes and we'll say 26 seconds. You see this scene of Spike, Hound, and Jetfire being sneaky, and they just poke their head around a corner.
In the weirdest way possible, though, because Skyfire is angled against the wall, so he's looking around the corner.
They do it the classic, like, Scooby-Doo style.
Yeah, on top of each other. But their angle, it doesn't matter. But like Skyfire is against the wall with his back to the wall, so he's looking around a curved corner in the most awkward way possible.
What they're looking at is Rumble. Frenzy, thank you. Can't make that mistake.
Nope,
controversial.
The internet will crucify us.
They'll crucify you either way with that one. That's the best part.
That's true, even though they call Rumble, whatever.
Frenzy is firing, notices them. What is he guarding again?
I don't remember.
He's guarding something important. There's some importance to that thing.
Yeah.
Is it the remote?
That he's guarding. It's the Force Dome. It's the Force Dome controls.
God, this episode's so complicated.
That's what it is. And then we're going to find out when they destroy that Megatron has another remote control.
It doesn't matter because I had this one already.
It'd be funny if Megatron, though, hits it and nothing happens around him, and then they quickly go back and show the office at Quantum Labs, and the drawer opens.
Oh, that's amazing.
And that's it. It just quiet room.
This is the one and only time. So yeah, how did they distract Frenzy? Where did he go? Oh,
Skyfire distracts Frenzy.
Skyfire leads him away, and then Hound, in the one and only time we see this, fires his shoulder rocket, which how he got back, we don't know, because he says earlier the Decepticons took it and takes out the shield.
We'll assume they found the place where they were storing it, but the lost and found
cage. Perfect. Good call
They
back.
could get their weapons back. So they destroy the control center for the Force Dome that the Decepticons have, which now allows Optimus Prime and his crew on the hydrofoil
on the wacky boat. It jumps. It doesn't even. It literally jumps out of the water off of nothing. It's
a Mario jump.
It levitates out of the water onto the fucking what?
Big battle breaks out. Prowl reasons that Megatron must have a remote transmitter to continue controlling the oil tankers. Prime goes after Megatron. They wrestle a little bit and end up destroying the whole platform.
Prime really fucks with Megatron here because he gets it and he's like, catch, and forces him to destroy it himself.
Like,
I know. Megatron falls on the remote, destroying
it's
it.
Hilarious.
It's very funny.
It's a dick move, and it's really good. I'm glad it.
It's kind of like, why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself?
I'm glad that Prime made that move. I was kind of proud of him.
Megatron's face was also like so dejected after
it embarrassed him. He ran away.
I love it when Megatron is a bitch.
Yes, just baby sad. Like, oh god.
So Megatron's lost control. The platform's not destroyed. I don't know why I said that, or much less why this is in my notes. The remote control is destroyed. Megatron takes off. The ships immediately just start pulling out. I guess they're going to go deliver their payloads.
I'm hoping the crews on these boats get compensated somehow by their companies for this, because this is bullshit. I hope that this doesn't get taken out of their paycheck because of things didn't go according to
they get some hazard pay.
Yeah, something.
I'm sure
like
there's
that.
insurance that's covering. This
Oh yeah,
somehow.
there's definitely insurance.
In this story, the Decepticons are basically Somali pirates.
Yeah. I mean,
they don't
Somali
have to
pirates.
I don't know why you have to call them Somali pirates. They're pirates.
Yeah. Well, like
Somali pirates are always taking over ships like this
around Somalia. Yes, they are.
Well, we're well west of Somalia, but maybe their empire in this alternative dystopia 80s. They've taken over that whole side of Africa.
The Decepticons are Somali pirates. Fine. Okay.
Well, I don't think pirates.
Where's Captain Phillips when you need him?
I don't think pirates steal oil tankers.
I think they do.
I don't think so.
They do hold vessels like that. Hostage.
I guess for ransom, sure.
Yes.
That's all they do. They don't steal the property.
They don't pump it down into their secret undersea base. That's what you're wondering.
hijack.
They're not supervillains, is what you're telling me? They're not the Penguin?
All they're doing is hijacking the ship and holding it for ransom.
So much has just happened. So
the platform does get destroyed.
It does, but it's being destroyed. Everybody gets toward the boat. Prime is like, So he's like, But to your point, yes, he says for all the Autobots to go, and I've got to find Spike, and the others go on without me. But this is in response to Ironhide saying they have to go. Sparkplug doesn't say shit about his son, who's definitely still on this platform.
Yeah, I guess he has faith in Optimus Prime.
And
if Spike dies, it was for the cause.
It's always been on red.
On red?
Yes.
Oh, red is Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime, yeah.
I was picturing a scale that was like on red. Anyway.
Oh, my God. It was a joke.
Brain went in
the
a weird
Wesley
place.
Snipes reference joke. Always bet on black. It's a line
from God. Yeah, Air Force One or something.
It's not that at all.
Passenger 57.
I don't think it's that either. I don't know I don't know what movie it is.
Glory.
He wasn't in Glory.
What? Who?
Wesley Snipes was not in Glory.
It's got to be Passenger 57.
It was definitely Major League.
We're just gonna go. It was Major League 2, where Omar Epps plays the Wesley Snipes character.
I walked out of that movie.
Oh, did you really?
I've only walked out of a couple of movies, and I went to see Major League 2 in the theater, and I walked the fuck out.
You did? Okay,
and I didn't even have a driver's license. I don't even know where I went.
Oh man.
It was
Well,
at the Battlefield Mall.
a couple of questions. Like you were like, this was not up to my expectations for Major League 2.
I think we just got bored. I think it was with Travis Bryant. I think we just got bored and was like, let's go do something else.
Okay.
I think it was that kind of situation.
Okay.
I don't think it's a good movie.
No, it's not. But you know what
It's
you're
the worst.
getting.
It's the worst.
It's of its time.
Yes. There's parts
I don't know
of
if it's
Major League
good.
that I well,
Major League is a funny movie. There's some pretty
Funny and good are not the same thing.
the American Express card, don't steal home without it. That's like, what's this nice
Yeah,
line?
it does this like the slides in on the like splits.
Yeah.
I'd like Major League.
There you go.
Sure you do.
I do.
Of course. Prime is down in the depths of the oil platform. And Megatron commands his Decepticons to abandon ship, and the platform starts to explode. And that's where... So they leave to Ryan's point. Prime is going to go save Hound Skyfire. He rips an opening for them.
Right where they are.
He just, I guess, senses them.
Sure.
And
He
they
searched every
I think
room.
I think he got incredibly lucky. I think he was like, well, I'm gonna have to
I'll
start-
check this room and then I gotta
he just
go.
starts ripping random holes
Yeah.
in random
Nope.
places, hoping
Nope.
that they're under
Nope.
there.
He just got super lucky. That boat goes.
I guess it has it appears to have a rocket
It does.
engine in
It
the
does.
back.
It seems like it would be a really scary thing to drive. All right, so
Prime finds them, and they escape.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we close things off back at Quantum Laboratories.
Oh, this is funny.
We leave with the knowledge that Twerk will not be hooked up until they figure out how to make him tamper-proof. Like all machines, he's unreliable unless properly monitored.
But oops,
Awkward.
foot in mouth.
Yeah. So speaking of racism.
How is that? Well, come on.
No, I mean,
Robo-racism?
It is not, but like he's also. It is that is the tone of like, oh, but you guys are fine.
I guess seems like a
You
stretch.
guys are some of the good ones.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
You took the words right out of my mouth. It was in there with my foot.
That was a pretty good line.
Yeah, it's a good line.
I thought it was well delivered.
Of course, I'm joking about that.
Yeah,
Of course.
I would think it'd be funny if
It's just coincidentally topical.
Prime like laughs and then grabs the professor's foot and shoves it into his mouth.
I thought that's what you humans
And
did.
then they're all still laughing.
So just you hear the snapping of bones.
Yeah.
Squishy meat.
Oh.
Squishy Professor Meat.
Voice actors. We're at the end of the episode.
Yep.
We have Torque 3. He was voiced by Greg Berger.
Oh.
All right.
Carl Andrews. Who the fuck is Carl Andrews? Is that the name of that must be the name of the other scientist.
Is it?
But they never said it.
No, they don't say it.
Well, it's Don Messick, who did Gears and Ratchet, and then Paul Gates. It was Ken Sampson, who does Hound.
Was Starscream in this episode at all?
He was. I don't think he speaks.
Not
speaking.
vocally.
Interesting.
A few fun details. We've talked several times. This is a David Wise production, The Master Recycler. This episode was no different. This premise originally appeared in a He-Man episode called Day of the Machines. He didn't even come up with a new title for this one. Later, he used this premise for a show called Defenders of the Earth. He used it for The New Adventures of Speed Racer. And I guess there was an animated Mighty Ducks series. I don't know how this could come into play in a cartoon about a children's hockey league movie, but
That
whatever.
episode is called The Return of Dr. Droid.
All right. This is also Skyfire's last speaking role in the cartoon.
Oh.
So Greg Berger's paycheck got reduced a percentage or two after this one.
Maybe.
This is not only, I think this is not only his last speaking role. I think this is his last appearance. There is an animation error in Dark Awakening, which is way into season 3, that shows him in vehicle mode, but people believe it's an animation error.
Yeah, yes.
And the main scientist we already talked about, Paul Gates, portmanteau, Paul Allen, Bill Gates.
Right on.
So I think that brings us
In the real world.
Yeah, Ryan, lay it on us.
Hey, cats and kitties. This Day of the Machines aired. Oh, I had October 12th. Maybe I mistyped that.
maybe I did.
Or did you say the 12th? I might have thought the 3rd because the 3rd is
I have the 10th.
whatever.
Who cares?
Okay, in the American Top 40, it was Oh Sheila by Ready for the World. It's a great song. I love that song. This song is actually commonly misattributed to Prince. because it's similar vocal and musical style. Do you guys even know the song I'm talking about?
Oh, Sheila.
Yep. The misconception is attributed to the fact that frequent Prince collaborator Sheila E. was on it. The use of a faux British accent.
There's a few Sheila E. songs that are amazing, but feel like they just are Prince songs.
Yeah.
And often he'll do backing vocals.
And he'll
on
produce.
those.
He'll probably help
and
with production.
produce, yeah.
So, there you go.
There's a use of a faux British accent in the song, and that was singer Melvin Riley Jr.'s idea. He said, quote, "I like that kind of accent, so I thought I'd use that sound."
Nice. There you
Yeah,
go.
it's like, fuck it, I'll do what I want.
Straightforward.
I like if it be Scottish.
I love the Scottish.
I actually appreciate that. Artists, in talking about their art, will often come up with the most out there ways of describing their inspiration and expression, and
Which comes down to I like it.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that sound.
Like, stop being pretentious.
Yeah, I like
You just
that sound.
fucking like yellow.
Yeah.
Ready for the World was founded by Riley and Gordon Strozier. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Strozier, Strozier. I don't know if it's
Strozier.
Yeah, in Flint, Michigan. Number one at the box office was Commando, which we've covered. So we're going to go with another number one from 1985, an entry in my favorite horror series, Friday the 13th, Part 5. I could definitely
I
do
can't believe they were up to 5 in 1985.
It started in like 78.
okay.
Or no, 80, I think.
That's still one
One
a
year.
year.
Yeah, well, because
Crank them out.
they were money
They were
makers.
cranking them out.
They're cheap to make and make a lot of money, I guess.
Cheap to make and
Make some money.
Make some money. I like that sound of
Buy
that
low and
accent.
sell high.
Yeah.
That's how you make the money, kids.
Let me tell you, I'm a really good businessman, guys.
You're like a
and what
Susie-
you want to do is make something cheap and sell it for as much money as you can to as many people as you can. That's the secret to business, everybody.
Fucking-
It's a profit deal.
Fucking Susie Orman over here. So Friday the 13th, A New Beginning Part 5, widely regarded as the worst, especially in the canonic, like in the Paramount series, because Jason's not the killer in this one. Spoilers for a fucking 35-year-old movie. It was number one for 1 week, March 24th, 1985, $8 million on opening weekend. So it's polarizing because they sold the franchise to New Line after Part 8, but this of the original is like the people hate it because the first movie, Jason's not the killer; it's his mother, and in this one, it's a guy who's using the Jason moniker and look to.
Is Jason even in it?
No, not at all. So it's the only one with Jason in it, not at all.
Now, Jason is like a superhuman, isn't? Or am I confusing
yet.
with Michael Myers?
No, Michael Myers is. I mean, I don't know if technically he is, but by definition, I think for his actions is. But Jason becomes technically superhuman in the next one, number 6.
Okay.
Because he's dead right now. I like this movie, though. Even though it's Jason's not the killer, it has some decent kills. It has some of my favorite side characters. There's a crazy foul-mouthed lady and her idiot son who she delivers my favorite line, which is, "Who the fuck are you and what the fuck do you want?" They kind of hint that Jason's not the killer because the hockey mask that Jason, quote-unquote, wears doesn't have the red triangles. It has, like, 2 little blue triangles. So that's kind of the hint that it's not him.
The reason I asked about the superhuman thing is because my picture is that he's kind of unstoppable in a lot of ways. He's super strong.
Yeah.
And if this is just a normal guy wearing a Jason mask, it seems like he might be easy to...
They don't really cheat
out.
They do a little, but it's pretty straightforward. They play it pretty fair. To be fair, this is only the third movie with the hockey mask. He doesn't even get the hockey mask until movie 3.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Star Wars can call their movies episodes. You can call these episodes.
Anyway, it did not perform as well as the studio wanted, but still got $22 million on a $2.2 million budget. So
Nice. It made a lot of money.
an order of magnitude of money. Fun facts from this week. Ricky Wilson, guitarist from the B-52s, dies of AIDS at age 32. Coincidentally, this was the first year that our wonderful President Reagan publicly used the word AIDS for the first time, despite being identified as a disease in 1981. He wouldn't talk about it again until 1987. He was a terrible person.
I saw the B-52s live at Austin City Limits. They were great.
I saw them in St. Louis.
Oh, really? Oh, we saw them at the 4th of July
That's
at
right.
the Arch.
Yep.
I came up there for 4th.
Yep.
That was when people could congregate freely.
Yeah, it was hot and miserable. I'm fine without congregating.
That's it.
Deviations.
All right, tell us about these deviations, Ryan.
The original title was The Machine Rebellion, which doesn't make any sense.
No.
This is the second of, like you said, the David Wise scripts, the first being the much-hated Attack of the Autobots by me. As I mentioned in the episode, there are a few instances where the Dinobots appear as they should be talking but are not. There was supposed to be dialogue here, but which is in the script, but for whatever reason was not recorded. When Slag encounters the tanks, he mouths for a while, and what he's supposed to be saying is, "You relatives of Slag? Maybe? Say hello, cousin? No hello? Okay, this gonna be fun."
We don't need that.
That's a lot.
Well, why would you keep the animation then?
Good point.
And then he melts them into slag, appropriately. A few minutes later, when Prime asks Sludge to give him a boost to the window to help Dr. Gates and his boyfriend down, Sludge just grunts, but his line was supposed to be, me Sludge be elevator. That's it. That's all I got.
We can.
I'm the ghost of the iconic movement.
You know?
I think we can just say Twerk's face, the contortions it does. It's very. Let's just go with it so we can move on in life.
Yeah.
Unless you have anything else that's more iconic than that.
Hold on, let me see. I don't think. Oh no, we've covered it extensively of just how Twerk is meaningless, and that was just my rate the scheme bit.
What do you give it? 1 out of 10?
I gave it a 6 out of 10. I would have given it an 8 out of 10 because it's a good plan if Twerk hadn't been involved.
Right. The needless side quest.
Yeah.
I'm right there with Ryan on that rating. I like the scheme, but it could have been better.
Me too.
Consensus. Next time on the Autopod Decepticast.
RC? Alita 1? No. Next week, we'll be introducing the true first female-inspired robot in the Transformers canon when we enter the Nightbird.
Dun dun dun.
I'm really glad that Megatron doesn't use his forehead thing on her.
Well, we can talk about some fan theories.
Moving on. If you'd like to support us, you can do it in a couple of ways. Of course, you can visit us on Google Play or any of the platforms that you like to listen to podcasts on. And if you're the type of person that likes to leave a review, particularly on Apple Podcasts, which is the only one I really know how to track, please do it. Additionally, through our Patreon. Go check that out. We've got that thing that exists. And I was also going to say in our store, our APDC store, and I have a feeling we're going to have some more products up in it. And if you're a Patreon listener, you're probably just going to get those
You're
products.
going to get them, so
Give us some money.
Don't buy that. Follow us on our social media, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, all of them at APODDcast, and the web presence, autopoddecepticast.com.
Cool.
Bye, everybody.
Twerk 3, take us out.
Crank this motherfucker up.
B-O-O-T-A-Y, B-O-O-T-A-Y, B-O-O-T-A-Y. Look at that booty.
Dick named Brutus, bitch, let's do this. Bully in the Trojan, leave your lips toothless. Stuff like a sharp shredder named Lucius. Flinch when I lift the backhand ruthless. Beat it like a pig on a nigga they shoot. Right away the people when I knock them boots.
Okay, that's Bumblebee. I haven't done an APDC After Dark in a while.
Oh, yeah. Let's not. No, don't do it right now.
I can't do it with you looking at me. It'd be too embarrassing.
I just need to keep looking. Don't take my eyes off of him. He'll do it.
It's like that movie Blink, I think it's the name of it, where if you close your eyes, like you get murdered.
Oh, God.
It's like a supernatural thing where when the lights go out, like somebody it's taken.
Oh, shit.
I need to make you guys, or we should all watch together. We should all watch. What is it? It's not Finding Forrester. It's
I'm gonna pee while you're looking up. The clips I've seen.
Fateful Findings.
The clips I find are they trouble me.
Have you seen any clips, Aaron? Well, Caleb goes to the bathroom. You should look up a clip.
Oh, this is troubling.
Of what?
Fateful Findings.
This is the bad movie.
It's the most
new
important
bad movie
that's ever been.
Here's a trailer. Should I go for that? I still want to see that Nick Cage movie that's so bonkers. Thank you. But they got this great stock art that they must have got from
I was
Getty
given
Images.
paranormal powers as a child. I've hacked into just about all the information I need. They have no idea. No more books!
You were given a power.
Others want to take this from me.
He's writing about government secrets.
I knew I loved you when I was 8 years old. All this time, I haven't
She
been
drunk?
working on my next book. I've hacked into the most secret government and corporate secrets. I'm using it to make a real difference. And I'm going to expose them all. Should I be afraid? Should we be afraid? I'm not ready for this. I want to be honest with all of you. I've been hacking into government and corporate systems
Please
all
throw
over.
more things.
You're going to get yourself killed.
But you should be scared, because it is the truth. Act now, on your own, outside of the corporate systems and these incompetent politicians. I'm gonna get out of here, but you can't see what's about to happen.
If you're confused as to what was happening, the movie
it
does not
doesn't-
clear it up.
Nope, doesn't help.
It feels like the corporate is pretty competent, actually. I mean, they set this all up pretty well.
The
With
ending
scams.
is so good. Oh god, it's so amazing.
It's fucked. It's really crazy.
Yeah, we need to watch that.
So
sometime.
this is just now hitting the zeitgeist. I only heard about this maybe a few weeks ago, or I could just be
It's
behind.
been.
Maybe people.
I think it was. Yeah, it's like reached a tipping point. I think it was made in 2014.
Yeah. More than me.
He's made like 4 movies.
How did this get made? Has really pushed it up there.
Yeah. Are they all terrible? And this is the
They're
sort
all
of
very
pinnacle?
weird.
I've only seen one, but yes.
Is the lead actor also the writer director?
Yes.
Okay.
It's him. It's always him.
And does he take it seriously?
Oh, I think so.
100%.
Yeah. Yes.
It's all earnest. It's
Yeah.
all very earnest.
Oh my gosh, that's sad.
Or is it glorious? I don't know.
I don't know if it's that.
It's remarkable
sad.
that
I have
someone-
moments where I think this podcast is good.
I always think it's good.
This podcast is great. You can't,
We're all as delusional as this
you
fucker.
can't measure it by its success as far as exposure. I mean, you just
No, I'm not measuring it by that.
what do you measure? Oh, just by the quality.
Yeah.
We need to get you like someone who would yes.
You just it's always like, oh, it sounds so bad, and you're like, you don't.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Bro Cells is the sponsor of Autopod Decepticast. Yes, 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 yes.